Today, we are diving into the final, profound message from a 20th century Carmelite nun, St. Elizabeth of the Trinity. And honestly, it's a message that kind of turns our whole modern obsession with doing and achieving completely on its head. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, our greatest purpose isn't something we do at all, but something we allow to be done to us. And it all comes down to these four simple but incredibly powerful words. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Let yourself be loved sounds, well, a little passive, doesn't it? Almost like you're just giving up. But as we're about to see, Elizabeth believed this was actually the most courageous and active choice a person could possibly make. A truly radical act of trust. So where did this absolutely life-changing idea come from? Well, it starts, like a lot of great stories do, with a secret. One that was tucked away in a small, unassuming envelope. Okay, let's picture this. It's 1906. We're inside a quiet French monastery, a place steeped in silent, deep prayer. And a nun, Elizabeth, is in the final stages of a painful illness. With whatever strength she has left, she picks up a pen to try and distill her entire life's spiritual journey into one last message for her spiritual mother. This right here is a look at the actual note itself. It's not just an abstract idea. It's a real, physical thing, a tangible link back to her final moments. She actually called the message inside her secrets, which, really makes you wonder, what was so incredibly important that it had to be her final word? And this is where the story just completely defies our expectations. You'd think a saint's final secret would be some complicated theological puzzle or, a list of really hard duties. But Elizabeth's secret, it was the total opposite. It was a simple, yet utterly profound invitation. An invitation that completely rewired the whole concept of a vocation. What we feel we are called to do with our lives. So when we hear that word vocation, our minds immediately jump to action, right? What we're called to do. A job, a path, a set of duties we have to check off. It's all about our effort, our striving. But Elizabeth comes along and totally redefines it. Not as a calling to do, but as a calling to be. So what she does here is just brilliant. She takes this famous question from the Gospels, do you love me more than these? And she just flips it on its head. She suggests that our main calling isn't to prove our love through endless action, but to simply receive love. For her, being faithful to just receiving that love is how love's power is truly magnified in the world. This whole way of thinking leads to what she called a new intimacy. It's a huge shift away from a spiritual life that's all about your performance and moves toward one that is based purely on reception. I mean, just think about that difference for a second. So much of spirituality, both then and now, is focused on what we have to do, our efforts, our sacrifices, our spiritual checklist. But Elizabeth's revelation completely flips the script. It's not about what we bring to the table, but about what we're willing to receive. So here's the bottom line. What if our primary spiritual job isn't to climb some ladder to God, but to just stand still and allow ourselves to be drenched in a love that's already being poured out? It's a massive shift from earning to accepting, from striving to surrendering. Okay, so if that's the goal, how in the world do we get there? Well, Elizabeth didn't just leave us with a nice philosophy. She left a practical guide. Her famous prayer, "Oh my God, Trinity whom I adore," is basically a blueprint for how to live this life of reception. This prayer was written 2 years before her death, and you should think of it less like a poem and more like her personal manifesto, a real practical guide for how to live in this state of radical acceptance and love. And it really moves in 3 stages. First, she says, forget myself. This is all about quieting the ego, that constant voice in our heads that's all about our own performance and whether we're good enough. Second, establish myself in you. This is about finding a home in God, a place of really deep, unshakable peace. And finally, surrender to your action, which is the ultimate goal, right? To just become a living vessel that radiates the love it has received. So, let's bring this all back home, because this isn't just some historical curiosity about a French nun. This is a direct, timeless invitation for every single one of us, right here and right now. It would be so easy to dismiss this as just a lofty idea from a mystic who was cut off from the world.
But Elizabeth's secret is actually a powerful antidote to our very modern anxieties. The burnout, the pressure to perform, that constant feeling that we have to prove our own worth over and over again.
So, what does this vocation actually look like for us today? Well, it means finding our value in just being, not only in doing. It means understanding that real love, from God, from others, even for ourselves, is a gift, not some kind of transaction. It's about trusting that when we allow ourselves to be loved, we don't become smaller, we actually become magnified. So, we're left with this final, really challenging thought. In a world that is constantly screaming for more action, more achievement, more proof of your value, what if the most revolutionary thing you could do today is to simply get quiet and let yourself be loved?